In a cave in southwest England, under a floor the people had walked across for 100 years, there is a skeleton. He is about 10,000 years old. He is the oldest complete skeleton ever found in Britain. In 2018, a team finally sequenced his DNA and built his face. And when they put the reconstruction on television, a lot of people were furious. Not because it was badly made, because of what it showed. I'm going to tell you exactly what that face looked like and why it upset people so much. But it will not mean anything until you know how somebody builds a face out of a skull in the first place, and how completely, confidently wrong we have been at it before. Start with what you have. A skull is not a face. It is the frame a face was hung on, but it is a frame that records things. Every muscle in your face is anchored to bone, and where a muscle pulls hard, the bone thickens and roughens at the anchor point. A skull carries the marks of the muscles that used to move it. So a specialist looks at the ridge above the eye socket and reads how heavy the brow was, at the roughness on the jaw and reads how much chewing that person did, at the shape of the nasal opening, which sets the width of the nose, but not, frustratingly, the shape of its tip. Then comes the part that sounds crude and is not: tissue depth. There are published tables of how thick soft tissue sits over each point on a human skull, over the cheekbone, at the corner of the jaw, at the middle of the forehead, averaged across large numbers of real people. You place markers at those depths. You build the muscle back on in clay, layer by layer, in the order the body builds it, and a face emerges that is not a guess. It is a constrained estimate, and the constraints are bone. But notice everything that method cannot give you. It cannot give you skin color. It cannot give you eye color. It cannot give you the texture of the hair, or whether he had any. It cannot tell you what his expression was usually doing. For most of the 20th century, all of that was left to whoever was holding the brush. Which brings us to a man who died in France about 60,000 years ago. He was found in 1908 at a site called La Chapelle aux Saints, and he is probably the single most influential Neanderthal ever dug up, not because of what he was, but because of what one scientist decided he was. The skeleton went to a French paleontologist named Marcel Boule. Boule reconstructed him with a curved spine, bent knees, a head thrust forward, and feet that gripped like an ape's. A shambling, stooped, dim-witted brute. That image went into the textbooks. It went into the museum dioramas. It is where the word caveman gets its posture. So here is what actually happened. In 1957, two anatomists went back to the original bones. The man from La Chapelle was old, and he had severe arthritis. His spine was curved because his spine was diseased. His joints were deformed because he had spent years in pain. Boule had taken one sick elderly individual and drawn an entire species from him. Corrected, he stands upright. He walks the way you walk. Dressed in modern clothes on a modern street, the standard line among anthropologists is that you would not look twice. 50 years. 50 years of every person on Earth picturing the wrong thing, because one man reconstructed one skeleton and nobody checked. Keep that in mind when I show you the face at the end. Now, the thing everybody actually wants to know, and the thing bone cannot tell you at all. Skin color is not written in a skeleton. It is written in genes. And only in the last 15 years or so have we been able to pull those genes out of bones that old and read them. Here is what they say. Every human being alive descends from populations in Africa with dark skin. That is the starting condition, not a variation on it. Pale skin in Europe is recent. The main pigmentation variants that make Northern European skin light appear to have spread widely only within roughly the last 8,000 years, which is after farming, after pottery, after people were already living in villages. Think about the order of that. There were people in Europe painting cave walls at Lascaux, making jewelry, burying their dead with grave goods for tens of thousands of years, and the pale skin you probably picture on them had not arrived yet. The leading explanation is vitamin D. Less sunlight at high latitude and lighter skin makes more of it. A farming diet may have sharpened the pressure because a hunter-gatherer eating a lot of fish and liver gets vitamin D from food, and a farmer eating mostly grain does not. That is the best current reading of the evidence. It is not settled, and people argue about how fast it happened and why. Eyes are stranger. Brown is the ancestral condition. Blue is a switch that got turned off. The variant responsible sits next to a pigment gene and turns its output down. Less pigment in the iris, and the eye scatters light back as blue. The same reason the sky is blue. There is no blue pigment in a blue eye. There is an absence and a trick of physics. But here is the part that gets me. Work led out of Copenhagen found that the variant is essentially identical in every blue-eyed person tested. Not similar, the same. Which means it happened once. One person, somewhere, some thousands of years ago, was born with it, and every blue-eyed human being now alive is descended from them. Every single one.
So, the cave in southwest England.
It is called Gough's Cave in Cheddar Gorge, and the skeleton was found in 1903 by workmen cutting a drainage ditch. He has been called Cheddar Man ever since. He died about 10,000 years ago, in his 20s. He was around 5'5". There is a hole in his skull that may be an infection or may be an injury. In 2018, a team at the Natural History Museum and University College London drilled into the bone of his inner ear, the densest bone in the body, the best place old DNA survives, and got a genome out of it. Then they built his face. Dark curly hair, skin somewhere in the dark to dark brown range, and bright blue eyes. A 10,000-year-old man from Somerset, one of the ancestral population of Britain, with dark skin and blue eyes together. That combination is rare enough today that a lot of people simply refuse to believe it. The reconstruction ran on television, and the arguing has not really stopped since.
Now, I want to be careful here, because this is the part that usually gets left out.
Predicting skin color from ancient DNA is not like reading a label. It is a statistical estimate built from a set of variants, and the confidence attached to it is real, but it is not total. One of the researchers on that study has said publicly since that the confidence on Cheddar Man's skin tone specifically was lower than the headlines suggested, and that with the same data you could reasonably land somewhere lighter. The blue eyes are on much firmer ground. The skin is a best estimate that could move, and that is worth saying out loud, because the whole point of the man from La Chapelle is what happens when a reconstruction gets treated as a photograph. Boulez was confident too.
So what did ancient humans look like?
Not like the diorama, not stooped, not shambling, not grunting, upright, ordinary, and more varied than the picture in your head allows for. Dark skin under a gray northern sky, blue eyes 10,000 years before anybody expected them, faces you would walk past on a Tuesday. The reason the picture in your head is wrong is not that you are ignorant, it is that somebody built that picture for you, out of one arthritic old man in a French cave, and then everybody copied it for 50 years. Every reconstruction is an argument. The good ones tell you where the bone stops and the estimate starts, and underneath all of it the frame has barely changed. Put Cheddar Man in a coat and he is a man on a train. Put the man from La Chapelle in one and you would not turn around. You are not broken, you are not weak, you are just ancient. What did you picture before this video when somebody said ancient human? Be honest in the comments. And if this changed the picture, hit like and subscribe for more of the ancient reasons behind your modern life.